Any last thoughts before we head in?
Springtrap.
3 years, well, 2 years and a bit later, we're running it back. Say hi, Gary.
What up? And has it really only been 2 years?
Well, 2 going on 3. Five Nights at Freddy's 1 came out in 2023, and it's 2026 now, so 3 years. But close enough.
There's no way that'll work.
Alright, so we just got out of Five Nights at Freddy's 2. First preconceptions, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, personally, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Again, we are both fans of the games. Like, not mega fans, but we know the lore and such. So, but from the way I heard about it, it was like one of the worst movies ever. Like, just abysmal. But honestly, it's not a good movie, exactly. It is very much a for the fans of the franchise.
100%.
But it is not the abysmal shitstorm that I was led to believe. Like, the Rotten Tomatoes score, I think, is like 15, 17%, something like that. It felt more like a 34% type of movie, if the original was more of a 50%. One thing I appreciate is that they don't tone down the violence. Like, they don't show it on screen, but they're not...
I was honestly surprised with how much blood was shown. That and the swearing. I was very surprised with the swearing.
Maybe it's meant to act as a dissuasion to kids to check it out, even though there were kids in attendance at our screening. It is a pretty grim series if you really think about it.
Yeah, but it's been that way since the beginning. It's like haunted animatronics stuff with the bodies of dead children does not exactly bring out the sunshines and rainbows.
No, it does not. No, it does not. What really surprised me, though, was like, oh, they're not playing around, was in the beginning, or near the beginning, was when one guy got caught by Mango, you see his camera fall, and through the viewfinder, or the little screen, you see his body parts fall.
Yeah, that surprised me too, honestly. That's probably like the most, like, on-screen we see a death. Even though later in the movie we see a guy's head basically getting crushed. Actually, that's a good question. How did Chico wash her hands and body, considering there wasn't, like, she crushed the guy in her hands?
Yeah.
How the hell was there not a lot of blood on her?
PG-13 magic, I guess. I also appreciated how they leaned into the dark themes of the story. It's one of those things where, on the surface, you think, okay, it's creepy, but when you actually start to think about it, it's like, okay, this is actually kind of really messed up.
Yeah, very much so. It's like, Scott's always been, like, more of a like sci-fi-ish writer, or like preferably when FNaF originally came out, he took a risk being like, all right, like haunted animatronics, sure, no scientific explanation, whatever. And obviously FNaF has gone more into the science fiction aspect lately with the mimic AI and such. This obviously went into a point where, like, some of it was unrealistic. Like, I'm not sure how realistic wireless technology would be when the toy animatronics in the movie, which are the first animatronics that the public would have seen.
Yeah, because keep in mind, this movie takes place in the 2000s, so wireless technology was still a very, very rudimentary thing.
Yes, not something that realistically would have been around, though that you never know fully.
It blends science fiction and the supernatural a bit.
Yeah, that's one thing I've always appreciated FNaF for.
Especially in this movie. They touch on... I don't think we'll see the mimic or the AI in that the stuff that's brought in from the later games. I think they're going to try and keep it purely like ghosts and spirits. And try to keep the science fiction stuff more on the... like a... I don't know, as on the subgenre kind of things.
I do like how they, like, bring in more characters than just Vanessa, Mike, and Abby. Because, like, there were other characters in the first movie. You just really didn't see them very often.
Although we can't forget about the GOAT, Bob. Bob the lawyer. All right, he's back, people. He's back. He has 2 lines of dialogue, and it is like it's like an MCU cameo almost. Like, you need a good lawyer. I know, you might need a good lawyer.
Actually, fun fact, I think, I don't know if the actor got, like, so many tweets or just saw so many memes about it online. He actually did go to, like, get appetizers after like seeing all the memes.
I do have a question, though, about how they're going to tackle the third movie. Because if you follow the chronology, you know that the third game takes a time skip from the first two. Now, granted, the second game takes place in the past, and the first game takes place, like, in the late 90s. So, it does beg the question of whether they'll try and follow the games a bit more, or if they'll just keep doing their own thing.
I mean, to be fair, there was a post, like, mid-credit scene of the guys who are obviously going to be, like, Fazbear Frights and whatnot, finding Springtrap. But, like, we don't know when that would be, because we were never told when, like, if even during the movie that the Fazbear, the original location from the first movie, was being torn down. We only heard that at the end, so for all we know, it could be like a few years, few months into the future.
We also know by the end that there is another Michael running around. Well, another Mike, or as he prefers, Michael.
Michael Afton.
Yep, the one and only.
Yeah, I knew about that before seeing the movie, and I was wondering how they would be handled, because in game the game timeline, Michael is just one person. To my quick recollection, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Michael is just one person. He went around under different names, like Mike Schmidt from the first game, which eventually ended up being Mike. What was it? Was it actually always Schmidt in the first movie as well?
Yeah, Josh Hutcherson's character is Mike Schmidt.
Okay, yeah. But out in the game timeline is just one Michael, not two different ones.
Well, I know there's a comic that had a security guard character who turned out to be a psychopath. I don't know if his name was Michael Afton or if that was just a repurposed William Afton, but I wonder if that's what they're leaning into. I wonder if the third movie will be the end of it, because I know that Matthew Lillard, back in 2023, said he had signed on for a trilogy of movies. Sorry, quick sidetrack, but he's not in this movie that much.
No, he's not.
His character is more of a ghost, or someone who messes with Vanessa's psyche a bit, which again is an interesting choice, but he's not really in that movie that much.
No, he's not. He's not really, like, missed outside of the times he's messing with Vanessa's psyche, but, like, part of me kind of feels like at the end, like, they could have had, like, something where, like, Vanessa and the marionette, the puppet as the fan base usually calls it, kind of become more... What was that even anyway?
What, the marionette?
No, like the marionette kind of taking over human bodies. Is that like an Ennard type thing, but like the person somehow survives, like Abby did?
I don't know. I think it's just hey, we don't know what to do with the marionette, so let's make it a spoopy ghost. A spooky ghost, yes. That idea is interesting, because if I'm not mistaken, the marionette doesn't really have many appearances outside of FNaF 2. I think that's the only game the marionette appears in, no?
No, you're wrong. Marionette does appear in FNaF 3 as like a phantom, technically not. It has a reflection in the floor of the camera it's on.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not entirely sure if it's there or not. It's also in FNaF 6 Pizzeria Simulator. It is Lefty.
I don't think I've played that far.
There's also like in air quotes for security breach. The puppet is seemingly infected the pizzeria or the Pizzaplex because of all the staff bots having like the crying tears streak that the puppet always has, and like all the wires having like the puppet's signature stripes.
Mm-hmm. Funny you mentioned security breach, because there is one point in the movie, if you've seen the movie, you know which point I'm talking about, where you see the word security breach, and it just felt like, come on, Scott, show some restraint, man. I get it, it's Easter eggs galore, but come on, let's dial it back just a touch. You could have had it like at the bottom of the screen or something, or just like, I don't know.
On the topic of like Easter eggs, I'm a little sad when Mike was like getting like trying to cheer up Abby by pretending to be a prize corner person. He just squeezes the Freddy plush. I wish he just pressed the nose and it just honked.
Getting a Freddy plushie for someone would be nice. That would be a nice gift for someone. Like if you have a young one or you have a girlfriend or something, or who's into FNaF. But hopefully not crazy eyes like Vanessa.
That's one thing I didn't like about the movie is how like Mike and Vanessa kind of go their separate ways in a way. Because like you just lived through like a potentially traumatizing experience together. How the fuck do you not at least trust her a bit?
Yeah, that's my big thing. Like, I could have forgiven it a little bit if he had said something along the lines of, I know you're not a bad person, but you're better off not being in my life. If that makes sense.
I feel like it should have been something along the lines of more of a go now, but we'll definitely be talking about this later.
And it ends on a cliffhanger, which I will admit isn't terrible, but it's like, and here's the jackrabbit. Is that what it's called? The white rabbit. Jackrabbit? Wait, security?
You could just call it the golden bunny at this point and it would work too.
Another choice I found kind of odd was how, I forget his name, is it Jeremiah? I want to say his name is Jeremiah or something like that. Or Jerry?
Mike's friend?
Yeah.
I don't remember his name either.
Yeah, but you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, the guy who comes to Vanessa's rescue when her truck breaks down.
Yeah, and when he knocks Michael Afton out, what's weird is that he didn't try to do something to restrain him, because after he knocks him out, he goes to the house, but then when we cut back, we see that the security badge is on the ground, so he effectively got away. That's kind of like, what, you didn't think to at least try to restrain him in some way, or because, you know, maybe call the cops or something? It's one of those dumb horror movie things.
Yeah.
And
like there was time in between like he knocked him out and like when he went into the house, so that's what you would assume he was doing.
There's a lot of humor in it, not like so much humor that it breaks the tension. It wasn't like MCU humor.
Yeah.
But there's a good mix of like good proper humor and also dark humor as well. Like when Chica crushes Wayne Knight's head and says, just what I thought, nothing at all. And also there's a joke at the very beginning of the movie where Mike's friend comes over. They make a joke about how he could go in her place. And she says, yeah, I think they notice. And that's because, again, he's this big black guy. It's like, yeah, they notice.
Funny enough, on like the topic of like not breaking tension, surprisingly the only like jump scares that the second movie did a lot more jump scares than the first one. The only like jump scare that actually kind of got me was the one with Abby, not any of the animatronics.
Oh yeah, that one, the one where she's not possessed, right?
Yeah,
that was a jump scare that made me want to go fuck you.
Yeah, I know,
at the screen, because it's just like, for one, it's that's the one jump scare that actually gets me, and it's the
only one without an animatronic.
But not only that, but it's such a cliche, you know, where somebody bumps into you, someone goes, oh, sorry. Although, I guess I can forgive that one because Abby was intentionally trying to jump Vanessa, so still, it's like, really?
Yeah, character motivation jump scare us instead of cinematographer motivation to jump scare us.
The moment the marionette comes out of Abby, Mike Schmidt closes the music box, and the entire time I was going, don't do that, just keep it playing, that's gonna keep her sleepy.
Yeah, like he just tossed it to the side and I'm like, oh, you dumbass, don't, just keep it open. You can toss it to the side, but keep it fucking open. Like, don't care that Ballora is dancing and the music would ruin the mood, fucking keep it open.
I want to talk briefly about Balloon Boy. Specifically, one moment that made you go, thank you. Like, you audibly said, thank you, or something like that. And that's...
I also heard someone else in the theater go, thank you, as well.
Yeah, because if you're watching this, you've already seen the movie, but I just love to describe it. The moment where Balloon Boy is just sitting there, he's not doing anything, and Mike's just like, all right, screw it. He, like, basically snaps his neck off and throws his head off down the hallway.
It's what everyone wanted to do in FNaF 2.
When the taxi pulled up, I was like, oh, I know exactly who is going to be the driver for this scene.
Was it the same guy as the first movie?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, sweet. I was hoping it was. I just wasn't sure.
I think his name's Corey something. He's a pretty big Twitch streamer, one of the big FNaF players. Something I was disappointed by was how this movie had Skeet Ulrich, I think I'm saying his name right, and Matthew Lillard in the same movie together, I think since the first Scream movie, and they don't even share any scenes together. And there's one scene with Skeet Ulrich, and that's when Mike goes to visit him, but then he completely disappears for the rest of the movie.
Are they even in any of the pictures together?
I don't know. It's like, because it's weird. It's like, I'm assuming Skeet Ulrich is playing Henry, William's partner, right?
That is the... Did he mention his name?
I don't think he did, but if we're assuming that he is, then it's kind of a weird thing to leave out.
Yeah, because we know Charlotte in... Was it Charlie is Golden Freddy in the game timeline. Well, one of the two spirits in Golden Freddy. Charlotte is, I believe... Wait.
Whatever the names are, I'm sure they'll come to you eventually.
Yeah, it was either... I think Charlie was the puppet, and Cassidy was Golden Freddy. I want to say Charlotte came up at some point before, but I could be mistaken.
I think I got all my thoughts out, but there is one big thing I'm curious about how they're going to do the future of this franchise, because, like I said earlier, the odds are we're only going to get one more movie, and that's it.
I just remember what I wanted to bring up, Baby.
Baby.
That one was like, oh, okay. Interesting thing to see.
Vanessa, Charlotte, sisters, sister location. It get... The plot thickens, man!
Next thing you know, Robot Arm's gonna...
In all seriousness, though, do you think they'll stop at 3, or do you think they'll try and make 4 and sister location as well?
Personally, I think it would be better if they probably stopped at 3, but I also could see them like sowing the seeds for more. But I hope at the very least they wrap up Mike and Abby's story in the 3rd one.
I feel like that's the likely outcome. They'll wrap up Mike Schmidt and Abby's story in the 3rd one, but they'll leave the door open for more spin-offs. I definitely think they want to adapt Sis Location, because I think that's one of the more popular sequels or spin-offs.
It's sequel, yeah.
Security Breach, I think, could also be has the potential to be like a very big, I don't know, not a legacy sequel, but maybe after this trilogy of movies, they do Sis Location, the franchise goes dormant for a while, and then they make a Security Breach movie. I could see that like being a big thing.
Maybe they actually get this the story of Security Breach actually ironed out.
Yeah.
Because the story behind that is Scott just didn't tell Steelwool, the developers of Security Breach, the story, and they were just kind of left to figure it out on their own. And they just assumed Gregory was a good guy.
Was Gregory a good guy or not? I can't remember.
I don't think Scott originally intended him to be a good guy.
Gregory's just a kid, no?
Yeah. Well, potentially Robot Kid, but we're not sure.
I wonder if the 3rd movie will end Mike and Abby, but it will also kind of firmly plant the seed of the Golden Rabbit, or the Jackrabbit, or whatever Vanessa's rabbit. I keep forgetting what it's called, but...
Oh, Glitch Trap?
No, not Glitch. Is that what... No, the costume that Vanessa wears.
Vanny?
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, that's the rabbit costume that Vanessa wears in Security Breach.
Yeah, I can see that happening in the future.
Actually, that could potentially come up in the 3rd movie, considering that the puppet has seemingly taken over Vanessa.
So now we got 3 psycho Aftons running about. Technically 4, but it counts as 3. We have Vanessa possessed by the spirit of her sister. We have... Oh, wait, that...
Charlotte was not her sister.
Sorry.
She was her friend.
Oh, well, why didn't you correct me earlier when I said that they were sisters? Because I said sister location.
I did not hear you say that. I knew you said sister location. I thought you were... I honestly wasn't sure what you were getting at there.
Well, Vanessa did have a sister, no? Because I thought they stated that it was... Or was Charlotte just a friend of hers?
Charlotte was stated to be a friend.
I swear I heard in the movie that she had a sister. The point is, we have 3 crazy Aftons going about. We have Vanessa possessed by the marionette. We have Michael Afton, who is trying to bring back his father's legacy. And William Afton is finally coming back. Like he said he would.
I always come back.
I'll try and wrap my thoughts up. But I want to say I like that they incorporated more elements from the games in this one, like with the Fazbear hat and the fact that, and they also give a reason as to why Foxy could tell that the mask wasn't an animatronic.
I mean, Foxy, to my knowledge from the game, he just attacked anything. Didn't care if it was an animatronic or not. But like you said, I do like that detail as well.
I'm surprised Balloon Boy didn't steal his batteries or something.
I mean, Balloon Boy was still an asshole.
I think what I would really like to see from the inevitable third movie is if they wrap up Mike and Abby's story, but at the same time, they try to make it more in line with what happens in the game. Like, maybe there's a cold opening of a security guard playing the part of a guy playing the part of security guard in Fazbear Frights, and maybe it's the end of the day, and then the entire cold opening is basically just a mini playthrough of Five Nights at Freddy's 3, where he dies on the first night.
One problem with that.
What?
There's no animatronic on the first night.
Oh. So, what happens on the first?
Nothing.
Nothing?
They don't get an animatronic till the second night.
Well, what I'm saying is we could have a code opening of guy playing the part of security guard. Suddenly the attraction goes dark and it gets a little bit too, he says something like, okay guys, this is getting a bit too real. Can I go now? And then William Afton shows up and it all starts up again.
Good way to finally get Markiplier in it.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. And speaking of Markiplier,
we're about to go watch Iron Lung.
Yes, sir. Which neatly transitions into our next topic of this video, our preconceptions and postconceptions about Iron Lung.
Apologies, there wasn't anything like that for FNaF 2. We were running late.
William Johnson equals 3 transition. Pretty good. So, Iron Lung. Yeah, it's a game that Markiplier played. The playthrough got popular, and now he's decided to make a movie about it. And because I think the first trailer for it came out 2 years ago, but he started production on it around the same time the FNaF movie was being made, which is why he couldn't cameo in the first FNaF movie.
Yes, I think so. It's basically been in pre-production hell for last year and a half, I want to say.
I don't think it was so much pre-production.
Or post-production hell. Yeah, you're right.
I think what happened was Markiplier was looking for a distributor, but he couldn't find one that respected his terms, which was, I think, somewhere along the lines of he had final cut, meaning that whatever was in the final edit was what he wanted, and also I think profit sharing, meaning that whatever profits the movie made, everybody gets a piece of the pie.
Yeah. Which, big surprise, execs don't want that for some reason. Who knew making people happy would not be what execs want?
Fortunately, though, there are plenty of actors who have production companies that exist solely so they can have profit sharing. Like, I know Ben Affleck and Matt Damon have a production company. I don't know what it's called, but basically, anytime they do a movie, they try and get it so that one of their terms of working a movie either together or separately is that there's profit sharing.
I thought you were just going to bring up, like, people make production companies flop A for profit sharing and B just to have fun, like Adam Sandler does.
I imagine part of the reason actors become producers on the films they star in is so they can also have a bit of the say on the final cut of the movie. Again, we won't get into the whole nitty-gritty of what a producer does, but that's not this type of video, but
no, it is not.
Markiplier wasn't the only person to play Iron Lung. It actually, when the game came out, it was one of those indie games that sort of blew up over the internet.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that was because Markiplier played it, or like with FNaF, Markiplier caught the wave early enough that he's a known face and name with Iron Lung.
Could be. I'll be honest, I don't remember him playing it.
Really?
I never watched it, which just kind of goes to tell you how rare it is for me to enjoy much horror, especially like anything like that, like never played Amnesia or any of that. So FNaF is kind of a very much a what the fuck are you doing into this?
The concept of Iron Lung is quite fascinating, though, especially the world building.
I legit don't know much about it other than a single room and a lot of blood.
Well, the backstory goes like this. A few hundred years in the future, man has colonized Mars and expanding outward into the universe. But something happens called the Quiet Rapture, where all habitable planets and moons and pretty much every star in the known universe disappears all of a sudden. and humanity basically only lives on these ships that are already out in space stations. And the character that you play as in Iron Lung is a convict who's being sent down in the submarine that is nicknamed the Iron Lung in a ocean of blood to snap photos of different points of interest because they think it might explain what happened, or at least try to give humanity a chance of rebuilding life.
That is one hell of a punishment.
The original trailer was pretty cool. You had like a shot of the universe, but then it revealed to actually be Markiplier in like a vat of blood. He looks up to see like this weird Stranger Things Lovecraftian horror creature before turning to the camera. And the voiceover that plays is a letter that the character can find. So the long and short of it is the main character of Iron Lung is essentially doomed. Like, he's not coming back to the surface. This is basically an execution. Spoiler alert for the game, but...
And potentially movie, but, you know, that you saw it in the beginning.
The character player gets eaten alive by this giant monster before he's able to take the final snapshot.
Oh no, who could have seen that coming?
I do wonder if Markiplier will follow the movie story to a T, or if he'll try and set it up so it answers some more of the questions that may have been unanswered by the game. Because it is a 2-hour movie, and I think in the playthrough it only took him about 20-something minutes to beat. So...
yeah, I guess he would have to, like, stretch it out to a point.
There is one shot in the trailer, like the last trailer, that got me curious. And that's this woman with, like, a scarred face who's looking into the submarine. I'm assuming that's, like, his commanding officer or prison guard or whatever. Parole officer, maybe. We'll just ignore that.
Ignore the car alarm going off.
But so I am curious to see if there's going to be more people involved, because I know that 2 of the credits as part of the cast for the movie are Jacksepticeye and Troy Baker.
Yes, I did hear that both of them were in the movie.
Now, granted, they'll probably just be voice parts, because the movie is essentially just Markiplier in this submarine. And I don't know if you've seen some of the behind-the-scenes footage, but...
I have seen some things, yes.
Yeah, it's just him in this giant cube that gets routed around.
Basically, imagine one of those, like, 4D kind of things where, like, you're strapped into, like, you're brought into, like, a box that, like, is projecting something onto a screen, and it's just shaking you around.
You say that as you shake the car?
We're in 4D now! Congrats on the upgrade.
Iron Lung has been curious in the sense of, will they try and explain the lore in the movie and potentially give us some answers that we don't have for certain questions yet? Like,
I mean, if he expands the lore, maybe he got and talk to the developer to see how he could do that.
Well, the developer is, again, just the one guy. So that's why I made the FNaF comparison earlier, is because it's one guy, one game, and Markiplier.
A lot of parallels.
Yeah. I think also their game's creator had a hand in writing the script as well. If not, he's also a producer, so he likely had a say in what he wanted to happen.
I'm now just thinking, a lot of parallels. When was this movie announced originally? If it got delayed a bunch, that definitely parallels FNaF as well.
Well, I don't think it got delayed that much. Like, I think he expressed interest in adapting the game back in 2022, and that's when he made it in 2023. The reason why it got delayed for so long was because of distribution. So he decided, screw it, I'll try and distribute it myself. And apparently it worked out, because last time I checked, it is the #1 movie in the combined US-Canada markets at the box office, beating out Send Help, which is a new horror movie directed by Sam Raimi, who you might know as the director of the Spider-Man trilogy, the Tobey Maguire version.
And Multiverse of Madness.
Of course. So, which is a movie that was distributed by 20th Century Fox, which is owned by Disney, and stars Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien, who are pretty well-known actors. So the fact that Markiplier was able to beat that movie for #1 is pretty crazy.
Markiplier beat Disney.
Where along? We still got plenty of time before we need to go in, but I think we should give our final thoughts so that we can have space to give our thoughts after the movie once we come back. Any last preconceptions before we go in?
I got nothing. Literally nothing. All I know is that Markiplier got blood. Like I don't remember if it was fake blood or like what, but he got blood in his eyes and had to go to the hospital during the production of the movie.
It was fake blood.
Okay, that's what I figured it would be.
I don't think they've used real blood in movies since like the 80s or something like that.
I was gonna say, considering how much blood apparently there's in this movie, that would be a lot of blood you'd have to find.
Apparently, I think
How many blood centers closed down?
if I'm not mistaken, I think it broke a record for the most amount of fake blood used in a movie. So, well, if a movie takes place in an ocean of blood, you're going to need a lot of it to convey the idea.
Yeah.
And then my last preconception before we go in is, it's a cosmic horror, hope it delivers, but hopefully I don't have more questions than when I went in.
I'm just hoping I don't have nightmares tonight.
And we're back. We just saw Iron Lung. So, what did you think?
I'm gonna have nightmares about blood rushing into my room now.
I don't think we'll go too much into it just because it's late at night. I think we'd rather be back at our own places. And it's also quite
and you
chilly.
should probably go watch the movie.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely worth checking out. But I will say it's not like the next. It's a good first movie. I'll put it like that. It's a better first movie than the Shelby Oaks. I know, which is kind of weird because Chris Stuckman is a guy who's all about film, and Markiplier is someone who's only, I guess, recently got into film. But,
I mean, if you look at his older work, like A Heist with Markiplier, in Space with Markiplier, it's not a world he's too far off of anyway.
True. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is Markiplier has started off as a Let's Player. In fact, believe it or not, I actually discovered him because when I was in high school watching YouTube, not during high school, well, actually was during one of my classes, an ad for his play. This was back in the day when YouTube would actually have channels as part of the ads, and one of the ads was like a compilation video from Markiplier. I remember it. It was the one where it set off with him playing like Surgeon Simulator, and it's like, someone play some death metal music. I was like, duh, 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 duh. I don't know if you remember.
I do not remember this.
Yeah, it's a very, that was 2012, so I don't blame you if you don't remember it. So it's quite an older video.
Someone put on some death metal music here. Everybody do the flop!
Funny enough, you want to know my first introduction to Markiplier? Because it wasn't from one of his videos either. It was it was either Galaris or the Game Station asking different content creators under their umbrella what their favorite gaming memory was.
Interesting.
And they had like Mark on a talking as a sprite from like Final Fantasy 7, I think, or not 7, 6.
What I appreciate is that there is a bit more lore to the story, and it doesn't just go for the ending in the game, which is just giant fish pops out and devours it. It plays a lot more with the idea of sort of cosmic horror, very Lovecraftian inspired, almost like he's becoming part of the ship by the end. And even if you, for a minute, you believe that, hey, maybe he'll get out of it, the movie doesn't try to say, hey, he's doomed and there's no chance. The movie does give the character Simon plenty of moments where, hey, maybe he'll actually get out of this.
Yeah, it certainly does. It never fully extinguishes any hope, but does not come lightly.
It does not pull its punches, let's put it that way. Comparing that to Five Nights at Freddy's, where FNaF was made more so with, it's trying to be entertaining for both the adults, but also the kids as well. Iron Lung is very much for their older side of Markiplier's audience.
I mean, how many times did they say fuck?
Enough. Well, if they said it more than 4 times, then it's an R rating in the States, so... Although it is funny that this movie carries the same rating as both FNaF movies up here in Canada, 14A, which again...
I'm pretty sure they've said fuck, like, just 10 times in the last 10 minutes.
Well, also the blood and also acute radiation poisoning moment might have contributed to that factor as well.
Yeah. It was interesting to see Troy Baker, like, actually do some, like, physical acting, because you don't get to see that very often, because he's normally primarily just a voice actor.
Who was he, like, in the movie?
He was one of the guys you saw more promptly during the window scene. But I think he was also the guy talking to Simon on his descent down after he blasted everyone else with radiation.
What's funny is that when that moment where you see the guy talking, for a moment I thought, is that Jacksepticeye? Then you see the guy, is the welder with his mask off, and you can clearly see that is Jacksepticeye.
For some reason, I saw like a green tint in the hair. That could just be like me, because Jack has not had green hair in many years. The only other thing I can think of that Troy Baker has been in for a physical acting role was The Last of Us.
The show or the game?
The show.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen the show.
I haven't seen it either. I know he's played like just some random character. I think he had a few speaking lines, but I'm not sure.
Because I know Nolan North has a cameo in the Uncharted movie with Tom Holland, where he's just the guy relaxing on the beach as they walk out of the ocean.
It would have been extremely funny if he said, "Been there."
Yeah, unfortunately, it was clearly Uncharted. That movie, I have my own things to say, but I will say, just for now, that was very much a movie that Sony made out of obligation. But whereas with Iron Lung, it's not perfect, but you can tell that this was a passion project for Markiplier.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
In fact, one concern I did have going in was, would I see him just as Markiplier and not as an actor? Like, would he say a line in a certain way that kind of broke my immersion and go, oh, that's Markiplier?
I mean, you and I joked going into it, being like, yeah, it'll just start out like his YouTube video.
Very quickly, I bought into the idea that he's actually not playing himself. I think it's just because I've become a bit jaded with like internet celebrities showing up in movies, like, I don't know, like Jacksepticeye in Free Guy, although that's one of the more forgiving cameos.
I was gonna say, like, any of the Free Guy cameos is definitely a bit more forgiving. I can kind of give an example of in Wreck-It Ralph Breaks the Internet. I could clearly tell who Dan TDM voiced, and I was like, okay, why? Like, I get he's like an internet celebrity, but like, still, why?
Who was it? I want to say it was Valkyrie or whatever her name is. Apparently she was supposed to have a cameo in the Minecraft movie, but that got cut.
There's a handful of cameos. Gemini Tay, I want to say LD Shadow Lady, and Mumbo Jumbo are a few creators that I know got some cameos. It was all in like one scene, to my knowledge. It was I've not seen the Minecraft movie yet, but it was like in the like storage auction scene.
Point is, I think Markiplier definitely has a future as a filmmaker. I don't know what his next project will be, whether he'll just wait a couple years before starting the next one. I mean, you never know where inspiration may strike.
I was gonna say, I think he has like an idea for what he wants to do next, but I don't know if anything's finalized.
I haven't heard of the idea. What's the idea?
I don't remember what it was. I just heard that it was like another indie game.
I would really like to see him try, I don't know, something that's not the YouTuber route of movie making. Because it feels like when it comes to a YouTuber wanting to make the jump to movies, they either do a comedy or a horror. It's never, it's nothing in between. It's never like a drama, like a serious drama that, I don't know, a drama about addictions or anything like that. It's never a period piece or anything like that.
For a second, I thought you were going to go with like full on straight up action.
No, I feel like that's another one.
I feel like Gunfight might be a bit over the budget.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, the thing about filmmaking is it's not so much what you have, but how you use it. I mean, John Wick, I think the budget for that was like $10 million or something like that. Yet it looked better than a lot of the other action blockbusters of the time that cost tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah, sometimes limitations breed creativity.
Exactly, and I think that's why Iron Lung worked despite its flaws, was because Markiplier really wanted to make this work. He knew what he could have and what he couldn't have for this movie, and he just rolled with it. And also, I think you can I won't spoil it here, but you can pinpoint the moment in the movie where it's like, yeah, and that sent him to the hospital. You know, the blood in his eye incident.
There was a few times where I was like, okay, I now don't know which incident it was that sent him to the hospital. Because there was a few times. I think I do know the scene you're talking about is when he gets it sprayed on him.
All in all, a very solid movie. I definitely say it's better than Shelby Oaks. Purely because you can tell there's passion behind it. And it doesn't, even though it's a video game adaptation, it works.
It works as an independent piece of media, not just as much of a video game adaptation. Like, comparative to Five Nights at Freddy's 2, you could easily go into this without knowing Iron Lung was a game.
Funny enough, I actually heard a review saying that the movie would have worked better as a game. What is funny, though, is that at the beginning, you can kind of see, like, okay, this is sort of like when the game's trying to explain mechanics to you, gameplay mechanics to you. And, like, how there's a fire extinguisher, and how you use the map, and the different controls, that sort of thing. And I just watched Markiplier's playthrough by not too long ago. So they're most like, okay, he clearly wrote that scene with that moment in mind.
Actually, come to think of it, if he was the first one in that vessel, how did all that other stuff, like that charm he wore on his wrist, get there? Because that would usually imply, like, someone else has been there.
Yeah, no, the thing is, it's MS-13, and the sub he was in was MS-13. And as you hear later in the movie, the captain says, get the SM-14 ready. So clearly, between MS-8, I don't know if it's SM-8 or MS-8, I'll probably mix them up, but point is, when they found the 8, she gets really excited about it, because I wonder if that's the only one that's gone missing. Maybe 9, 10, 11, and 12 were successful. And so, maybe someone snuck in and just planted it in there. The craziest bit for me, though, was how they implied that the monster could talk and sort of mess with the submarines.
Like, that one was wild. Like, the only, like, indication that you would have before the reveal that it wasn't that was in, like, Simon's head was that the light didn't turn on for the radio. But you easily could, like I did, assume that the light just kind of broke because he hit the fucking radio. Mark isn't really, like I've mentioned In Space with Markiplier and Heist with Markiplier, none of those were portrayed as seriously as anything in Iron Lung. And, like, it does kind of prove Mark's range as an actor quite well. He did quite a good job here, and he did a good job at the other times he's been an actor with Heist and In Space. I feel like he's a little better in the comedy aspect. However, I can see him going into another role like this and being just as successful.
The comedy to horror pipeline is very straight. I mean, Jordan Peele did how many years of Key and Peele before he made Get Out, and then Us and Nope. John Krasinski, Jim from The Office, his directorial debut was A Quiet Place. So a friend once told me that the only real difference between horror and comedy is timing, or tone, or how you say the line. You know, that's the only real difference. One of the two.
Does that mean the pipeline goes drama, comedy, then horror?
I think more so it goes comedy, horror, then superhero movie. I mean, think about it. James Wan, director of Conjuring and Insidious, he directed Aquaman. David F. Sandberg directed Annabelle Creation, Lights Out, did the Shazam movies. There's one more example.
I was going to say, where does Chris Hemsworth fall into this? Because he was a drama actor before he became Thor.
I don't know. I know he did Cabin in the Woods, but that was more of a horror comedy, so it's not sure. So basically, we can expect Markiplier to direct the next Avengers movie, then.
Hell, I'd see it.
They'll probably do a better job than what the Russos are going to cook up with. I'm sorry, but Doomsday Secret Wars, I do not have high expectations for.
I have some expectations. The problem is the expectations I have a feeling are going to be bashed into the ground.
And how high would you say your expectations are?
Considering there were 4 Marvel movies that were released last year, I was planning on seeing 2 of them, and I never did.
So the bar is already pretty low.
Well, I'm trying to think of the last Marvel thing I even watched. I want to say it was Loki Season 2.
I never watched any of the TV shows, except What If, but I dropped it after Season 1 once it became clear they weren't going to do any interesting scenarios with it. It was just going to become Captain Carter the show, and sounds like, from what I've heard, that's what it's become.
From what I've seen from clips on YouTube, yeah.
Seriously, 3 seasons, and you didn't even bother tackling What If the other half got snapped? That should have been episode 1, like premiere, like first episode out the gate. What if the other half got disappeared in the blip?
At the minimum, make it episode 1 of season 2. You made a fucking Christmas special with fucking Happy.
I'll wrap this up by saying I do recommend seeing Iron Lung if you're a fan of cosmic horror or just horror in general. But I will also say that don't go expecting it to be some masterpiece. This is not Markiplier is not going to win any Oscars for this. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'll be surprised if he wins any Oscars for this.
He might win some awards from like horror festivals or something like that, or like I don't know, a Saturn, because those are awards that focus more so on science fiction and horror. I mean, Oscars are just one of the many awards that a film can win out there, and there's plenty of awards and festivals that are very niche to different genres. So who knows? Maybe Markiplier will get some awards, just not Oscars, just not yet.
Maybe YouTube will send him another award. I don't know.
Well, apparently the Golden Globes are moving to YouTube for their 100th ceremony in a couple years. And I think the Academy Awards might be following suit. So, who knows, maybe we'll get Markiplier to host the Golden Globes. Although, concerning the direction that show's going, I feel like that would be beneath him.
Probably.
It does beg the question of, do you think he'll do, I don't know, cameos or bit parts in other video game adaptations? Like, do you think he might have a surprise role in Five Nights at Freddy's 3, hypothetically? Or do you think he's going to be... No, I'm grateful for what FNaF did for my career, but I'm more of a serious filmmaker now. I don't want to keep doing these, like, cameo bit parts or anything like that.
I don't think he would stop doing the cameo bits if he can fit it into his schedule.